Welcome back once again to another tutorial. I want to continue from where I stopped at my last video on how to sew your trouser. So on the other video I showed you on how to sew your welt pocket, as you can see, how to sew your welt pocket and how to sew your front pocket. So I have these two videos in the channel, so I will put the link in the description box for you to go and watch. So what I want to show you now is how to get your front lapel for where your zip is going to pass through. So that is what I want to show you guys on how to get. So definitely the way I show you on how to get this your welt pocket at this other side, if you want to make two welt pocket for the both part of your back piece, you can as well use the same formula I showed you on how to get this one to also get this other part. But for this I am making only one piece of welt pocket. So what we are doing now, we are going to work with our front. So this is my back, and I will keep my back aside, then I'll come forward to my front. So my front now, I have my two side pockets, as I just told you earlier. I have a video on how to sew that. Then what you are going to do now is to place your both fronts together, because you are working with your front piece and how to fix your zip. That is the aim which we want to achieve right now. So you are going to fold your front piece together. Make sure you interlock your trouser after everything. Make sure you interlock. You can interlock it after putting your side pocket. So after placing it putting it in place like this, what I'm going to do now is to take 7 inches from this my top part. Now I'm going to take 7 inches from this part and mark at this end 7 inches. So this will be the length of our zip which we are going to make use of. So what I'm going to do now is to put a notch at this part. So your notch should be about 0.4 to 0.5 inch as your notch at this front. So after getting your notch at this front, what you are going to do now, you are going to cut a piece like this. So I have already gone ahead to cut my own piece like this. So what I'm going to do now is to show you guys on how you will be able to achieve this. So let me go ahead to bring piece then show you on how to go about this. Okay, so as I told you earlier, my aim here is to make things simple. So I want to make this simpler as possible for you to understand within some few minutes as I'm about to show you. So what I'm going to do now is to get 4 inches as my width for this part. 4 inches as my width. And the length of my lapel, which I want to make it, I can make it of 9.5. So I'll make use of 9.5 for the length. So after getting your 4 inches, what you are going to do, let me just cut my square out to make things easier for you to understand. Make sure when doing this, you are making use of your main fabric in doing this. So I will also slit these parts outside. So you can see what I have here now. So you can see this straight line is facing me, and this one is facing other side. So this line that is facing me, this is where you are going to connect your curve like this, like an arc. When you connect it, your connection should not come from this side. The hair should be straight. It should go from this side, your outer line. I need you to understand this so that it will be easier for you to do. Then go ahead to connect like this. So after getting these two pieces equal, what you are going to do now, you are going to take one piece out and bring this other piece in. And this other piece, we are still going to reduce it. We are still going to reduce it just like this. So let me cross check on what I have after reducing it. So I have 0.7 inches. So what I have for here is 0.7 inches, which I have reduced. So if I place this together now, I have two different pieces for this. So you are going to mark. Make sure you are working with your wrong part of your fabric. So you can see me marking it bad. This is indicating that this is the wrong side of my fabric. So this is what I have here. As you can see, just like this, this is exactly what I have here. Then I just keep this aside. I'm done with that. So after doing that, I went on to indicate that this is the wrong part of my fabric, and this as well is the wrong part of my fabric. You can see my chalks as I place my marks there. So after that, what I'm going to do for this piece now, I'm going to gum this with a stronger gum. I'm going to gum this with a stronger gum, and this side that I have my bad piece also, I'm going to place my strong gum at this part, my paper gum, that the one that is strong, not the harder one, but the one that is strong. I'm going to place it here and gum. Then I'm going to fold this one like this and iron it. So let me go ahead to do that, then come back to you. Okay, so I have gone ahead to do it exactly as I told you on how to do. So you can see the gum which I use the light paper gum to do this. So I promise to make this easier for you to understand earlier. So I want to use this obvious zip to use as my zip. So after getting my zip and everything, so you can see the inside of this one as well. After gumming it, I went on to fold it like this. So what I'm going to do now is to sew at this point. I'm going to sew it here down to this point. After sewing it down to this point, to hold it in place, what I'm going to do next is to place my zip. So take note, this part that I sewed in, this is the part that went under this. So after placing it like this, I'm going to place my zip on top of this. Please make sure you are working with your exact zip. I'm just using this color because of the tutorial which I'm making right now, and it will not appear at the front part, but it is always advisable to use the right color of your zip. So I'm going to place this at this piece, so you can see how here is straight. Don't go ahead to, if you gum this your gum wrongly at your right part, definitely it is going to appear like this, and it is not possible for you to do it like this. It won't possible. So you will know that you have gummed the wrong part of your fabric. So make sure you quickly do the right thing and place your zip after that, after sewing that. So when you are on the right track, you will have something like this, everywhere straight according to your zip. Then I'm going to run a straight stitch from my zip down to this end. So let me go ahead to do it. I want to take this step by step for it to be very easy for you to understand. You can see my speaking, I'm trying to make it easier for you. So let me go ahead to do that. So I have gone ahead to put my zip as I showed you. So you can see my zip now is in place at this part. I went on to run a straight stitch. So after doing that, what you are going to do next, now you are going to take one part of your pants trouser, which is this other part. So what you are going to do, you are going to take your measurement of your waist. So the measurement of my waist is let me come back. Okay, so the measurement of my waist is 34. 34 divided by 4, I have 8.5. So remember, when cutting this trouser, you can go back to the previous video on how I was able to cut my trouser and how to sew this pocket. I explained everything for you to understand. So remember, when cutting this trouser, I included 1 inch for my sewing allowance. So the reason why I added that 1 inch for my sewing allowance, so my waist divided by 4 is 34. So sorry, my waist is 34 divided by 4 is 8.5. So this is my 8.5 which I have here, and my 1 inch for sewing allowance as I showed you in the video. So this is my 1 inch for sewing allowance. Now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to mark out 0.5 at this part. So the sewing of my zip will start from this 0.5, and the joining of this other part for my trouser is going to be 0.5. So what I am going to do now, from this my 0.5, I'm going to fold it like this down to this point which I have here. If you want to iron, you can as well go ahead to iron. Just fold it down to this point. Then what I'm going to do now for this my other part of my zip, I'm going to place it like this. Make sure your lines are straight. I'm going to place it just like this on this my zip part. So where this your 7 inches which I notched with, so it will stop at this point where you have this your teeth, this iron piece which you are seeing here. So it will stop at this point. That is where your cutting will go upward. So this is what I have when it stops at that point. So let me take it up again for you to see. So you can see where it stops. So this is where yours, I believe you can see it very clear. So this is where yours should also stop. So what I am going to do after placing it like this, what I am going to do now is to sew down. Make sure it is in place. What I'm going to do now is to sew from this top down to this point. Then I will keep this aside. So after getting that, this one for this other piece of my trouser is going to be like this. So remember, we are taking out 0.5 inch from both sides. Make sure your measurements are complete and intact, so you know how many you are taking out, so you don't get short of fabric. So what I'm going to do for this part now, after marking this, you know I already have my notch at this part. I'm going to use my lighter gum. This is a paper gum. It is light. What I'm going to do with this paper gum now, I'm going to cut it out just like this. I'm going to cut out a piece like this, and this is, I will place it at the wrong part of my front. Where I'm going to place my zip, I'm going to place it at the wrong part like this, and I'm going to gum. So let me go ahead to do that and come back quickly. So I have gone ahead to give it a notch at this part after ironing it, gumming it to my fabric. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to place this like this. So this is my right part of my fabric. You can see my pocket. So this is the right part. So my right part of this is my lapel, which I have here. I'm going to place it just like this on this part, just like this. So make sure what you have at this part is about 2 to, it is about 1 point. So what I have here now is 1.5 to 2 inches. It should not exceed that. This should not be that long, 1.5 to 2 inches. And make sure what you have at this part is, it comes out than this front, because we are still going to make use of this piece. So it is very important in everything we are doing. So you can see mine is out by a little, about 0.5. So what I'm going to do for this part now, I'm going to sew from this point, which I have this my notch, which my notch ended, where my notch ended. I'm going to sew from this part. Remember, I'm not going to start from here. I'm starting my sewing from this point here. So I'm going to sew all the way to my 0.5, which I have at this part. After sewing that, I'm going to turn this in. I'm going to turn this to the last piece, and I'm going to do a top stitch on this part down to that end. So let me go ahead to do that and come back to you. Okay, so I have gone ahead to do that, and I went on to top stitch it as I told you. I am really sorry if this video is not bold enough. I will try my best to zoom it, but the zoom is not enough. I really need sponsors for this channel. I really need sponsors, because I have some equipment to buy to make my video to be more clearer for you guys to understand. I've been trying my best. I really need sponsors. So somebody should sponsor me, please. It is not me. You are sponsoring alone. You are sponsoring everyone who wants to learn. So let's go straight to our video. So I have gone ahead to do that, so you can see what it looks at this other part, and you can see where I notched. So you can see totally that my notch is coming out like this. So you can see what I have here. So what I'm going to do after getting this piece like this, I'm going to bring this my other piece to this side, and I am going to sew this one. So I am done with this for now. For now, I am done with this other piece, joining it together. So this other piece here, as I told you what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it to my sewing machine now and sew it close. So let me go ahead to do that. Okay, so I have gone ahead to sew it as I told you. So what I'm going to do now for this other piece now, it's time to join the both brothers or friends together. So they were separated. It's our time to bring them back. So I have gone ahead to do it as I just told you. So what I'm going to do next now is to bring this. So you can see my right side is facing right side. So you can see right side facing right side. You can go as well as iron after placing it like this. So this one it is out about a little inch. It's out. It is not equal, like making it equal like this. It's at least, this is coming out a little bit to cover up my top stitching. It's coming out. So what I'm going to do at this part now, I'm going to place it like this, and I will make sure this my up parts is meeting each other. This is very important. So make sure these upper parts are meeting each other. And what I have here, I will also bring this out, so it will be like this. So take a closer look. So when you come to this part, it is not always equal at this part. If this is your down part, it is not always equal when it comes to this part because of your joining. And make sure these your upper parts are equal. Make sure these upper parts are equal. So when you do those parts equally like that, and you bring this out, so when placing this, make sure it is not on exactly that's your stitch which you sewed down to this point here. So you can see the stitch. I don't know if I have shown you the stitch of this. So you can see the stitch which I sewn down to that position. So this is going to sit a little bit apart from that piece which you have there. So when doing this, you are on your machine. When doing this, placing this cannot be pinned. You must try your best to make sure you arrange it properly. So after placing it like this, what I am going to do now, I will go over to my machine and sew. And when sewing, I'm going to start my sewing from this my iron which I showed you there. I'm going to start my machine from that my iron, but when sewing this is very crucial. This is very crucial. So when sewing this, you are going to sew 0.5 inch, 0.5 inch down to this spot. So let me go ahead to sew it, then come back. I will explain that better for you to understand. Okay, so I have gone ahead to join both pieces together as I told you. So what I was able to do, let me explain this again for you. So what I was able to do, so you can see where my sewing started from. So this is where my sewing started from, and you can see where it is sitting. So once I started sewing from this part, I did a back stitch to make sure this part is strong or tighter. Then I sewed all the way to this point, and I ended about 0.7 inches before the end. So you can see I have a opening at this part. So I stopped at that point, and I raised up my foot, then turn my fabric. Then from this point again, I started sewing until I get to this end. So I totally have 2 stitches. If you take a closer look, you will see 2 stitches here. So this makes it to be strong at this part, so it does not get loose easily. So after doing that, after putting this in place, what I'm going to do now is to turn it either ways, so you can see the part which I did not put my zip. So my zip is on this part. So what I am going to do now, and if you take a closer look at this part, why I told you it should be straight, if you take a closer look at this up here, you will see that this is straight, it is equal. So you can see that they are meeting each other, so they are equal. So that is very important when it comes to zip fixing. So once you have done that, what you are going to do next now is to place it like this. So always make sure this your zip are equal, they are sitting equally. So you are going to place it just like this. So you can see what I have here. So you can see now my right side are facing right side. So you're going to place this zip like this, and this other part which I have not sewn for my zip, after sewing here, this part which I have not sewn, I'm going to place it like this, and I'm going to stitch it all the way starting from the down. I'm going to stitch it to this up here, then I will stop there. So take note of this. So let me go ahead to do that and come back to you. Okay, so I have gone ahead to sew it as I told you. I have gone ahead to sew it up to this end, then I will turn it over to my right side. So this is being turned over to my right side. Then you can see our zip, it is not yet finished. So you can see our zip, it has fixed it, but it is not yet finished. So for the first time, if you are doing this for the first time, it might look difficult for you because it is your first trial. You don't need to be afraid of anything, but I promise you, your second trial will be better than your first trial. Your third trial will be better than your second trial. Just go ahead to try it and follow the video the way I showed you step by step. I know it is somehow complicated, but it isn't. It is very easy to make. since I can do it, it is very easy for you also to do it. So I don't know if I'm going to show you the remaining piece of completing this your zipper part, or I might make this video separately on how to fix your band and fix your side. So once you have done this part, what you are going to do next is just to fix your sides together, right side facing right side. So you can remember the 0.5 inch which I showed you on how to do this part. So there's 0.5 inches what you are going to use to join this down to this end, and do the same for this other part. So let me go ahead to do that. So after joining both pieces, I went on to press it open. So you can see my side, I went on to press it open at both parts. So after doing that, it is time to fix our belt hole and our band. So what I'm going to do now is to open this piece, and I'm going to take a measurement of what I have here, what I have from this part. As you can see, what I have at this part, from this part till this end, I'm going to take my measurement across it to see. So I have 22. So I'm going to include 1 inch to making it 23, or 1.5 inch making it 23.5. So after getting your measurement from this part to this part, you increase it by 1.5. So I have 13.5 here. So I'm going to get my fabric unfold, because I want to cut 2 pieces of my band. I'm going to cut 4 by 23.5. So let me go ahead to do that. Okay, so I have gone ahead to cut it as I told you, 31.5 by 4. So what I have here now is 4 inches. So let me split it so you don't get confused. So what I have here now is 4 inches, the same 4 inches. So I went on to put my gum stay, and I place it right side facing right side so you don't get confused. So I place it right side facing right side, and I went on to place my gum stay at this pattern, place it the same thing here. So what I'm going to do now is to fold this part. I'm going to fold it. So what I have is about 0.7 inches. So I have 0.7. So I'm going to fold it like this and iron, and fold this other part as well and iron. This is because I did not interlock it. So you can go ahead to interlock it and leave it like that, but I will go ahead to fold this in, and I'm going to sew it. So let me go ahead to sew it down to the end, then I will come back to you. Then for this other part, what I'm going to do now is to cut out my piece that I'm going to use for my belt hole. And my belt hole, the width will be 1.5 by width for my belt hole, and I'm going to fold it as a like a bias strip. I'm going to fold it like a bias strip. I'm going to fold it as a bias strip. I have a video coming on how to sharpen your scissors. So I will show you guys on how to sharpen your scissors. I have a video coming very soon on how you will need to sharpen your scissors, so you don't need to throw away your scissors anymore. So very soon that video is coming up. So and your belt hole, what you are going to need is six piece of belt hole, and 1.5 is the width. So what I'm going to do now, I will take it with my machine to get my 6 piece, but I'm going to fold it twice like a bias strip like this, and close it up and sew it down. Sew 2 lines. You can either sew 2 lines on 1 line. So let me go ahead to do that. I will get six of my belt hole. So let me go ahead to do that and come back to you. So I have gone ahead to fold it as I told you on how to do it. I've gone ahead to fold both sides so you can see how it looks. So it is the same thing if you place it together, right side facing right side. It's better you do it right, so that you don't get confused. But if you do it either way, so you can still go ahead to do it. So I have my belt holes which I have here, and after folding it, I cut it by 4 inches. So what I have in total of everything here is 4 inches. So what I'm going to do next now is to fold this part. So let me use this one as an illustration for you. So I'm going to fold this by 0.5 inch. Fold it by 0.5, and I am going to iron it down to this end, 0.5 inch. And I am going to fold it again by 1.2 inches. 1.2 inch. After folding 0.5 inch, I'm going to fold it again by 1.2 inches and do the same thing down to the end. I'm also going to do repeat the same thing on this other part. So let me go ahead to do that and come back to you. So I have gone ahead to do it exactly the way I showed you guys. So you can see what I have here is 0.5 inch. Then this one unfold 1.2 inch. Take note of that, 1.2 inch. Let me show you what I mean by the 1.2